Chapter 28. Rude and crude, with my kind of tude. My next stop is the Ed Sullivan Theater, up on Broadway and 54th Street, where David Letterman tapes his show. I'm kind of in a total awe, just thinking about all the great comics who have appeared on this stage. Some of them probably even use this very same sidewalk to get to that stage. You know, people will tell you that New Yorkers are so rude, they don't even get along with each other. But Letterman says that's not true. I saw two New Yorkers, complete strangers, sharing a cab. One guy took the tires and the radio, the other guy took the engine. In New York, they say people go to the hockey games for the fighting, in the stands to participate. So during my entire visit, not one single New Yorker acts extra nice to me because I'm in a wheelchair. And I love every minute of it. Check it out. A taxi splashes me because I stopped too close to the gutter. A tour bus nearly runs me down in a crosswalk because I don't realize that the traffic signals in the city are just suggestions. I learned you should never ever travel behind a horse-drawn carriage in Central Park. While I'm waiting for the subway to head back to Penn Station, a rat the size of an otter scampers up from the tracks just so it can pee on my shoe. This whole city is hilarious, including the subway ride to Penn Station. A guy mugs me, armed only with a finger pistol under his hoodie. I give him my last $2. He hops off at the next stop. I just smile and wave as he runs away. Go with God, I say, because he robbed me just like he'd rob anybody else. Chapter 29. A new week, a new me, even though I look a lot like the old me. Refreshed from my weekend trip to the city, I start the new week at school with a renewed sense of purpose. I promise myself I will persistently pursue perfecting the 3 Ps. Try saying that 3 times fast in front of a mirror without splattering it with spit. I will also follow Uncle Frankie's advice and try to finally figure out how to stop choking. I will practice my act in the privacy of my bedroom. I will prepare new material. Thanks again, New York City. I will perform in front of people, maybe. That last P is the hardest one. Where am I supposed to try out my material before I take it to the comedy club in Ronkonkoma? If I decide to enter, that's a huge if, about twice the size of one of those billboards in Times Square. Instead of a giant Abercrombie and Fitch A and F, picture a humongous IF. But if I maybe possibly, weather permitting, do enter, I need to perform somewhere else first. Suddenly, the obvious answer hits me. Why not at school? Talk about your captive audience. These people are glued to their seats for 50 minutes at a time. I could become the class clown. And since my pals Gilda, Gaynor, and Pierce are in my math class, I decided to make math my first show of the day. Okay, here goes nothing. Or should I say, everything. I raise my hand. Yes, Mr. Grimm, says the teacher. Ms. Zick, do you have a question? No, I'm just auditioning to be the new Statue of Liberty. Excuse me? Have you seen the statue lately? She's not looking good. In fact, she looks kind of green. People, the teacher not included, start chuckling. I think it's because she's been holding up her arm for over a century. Her fingers have got to be tingling. And what about that B.O.? I fan my free hand under my armpit for emphasis. Oh, somebody signed this poor lady up for new deodorant. Everybody is laughing like crazy. Except, of course, Ms. Zick. She's basically scowling. Mr. Grimm, she says extremely grimly. But I can't stop. I'm performing. My audience is laughing. That's Mellon Bayonne. It isn't New Jersey. It's her. Pierce, Gaynor, and Gilda actually applaud. The teacher does not. She goes to her desk, finds the dreaded pink pad, and writes me up. Yep, I just earned my first detention ever. I know I should feel ashamed, but actually, I'm kind of proud of myself. Pierce, Gaynor, and Gilda, they're definitely proud of me. Chapter 30. Doing Hard Time. When school ends, I head with my fellow felons to detention hall. Stevie Cosgrove is already in the room. I think he's a detention regular. Rumor has it that the principal herself gave Cosgrove a life sentence without parole. Stevie's two thuggish friends from that night on the boardwalk, when I learned I could fly, if properly flung, are in detention too. Zitz and Useless, if I remember right, which I do. I'm wondering if we're all going to make license plates, like they do in prison movies. Congratulations, says Stevie. You made it to the big house. Maybe you're not a total weenie. I guess I should feel proud that I was funny enough to cause a disturbance. But I don't. I feel terrible, like when you let your parents down, or get caught cheating at Monopoly, or both. There's not much for me to do in detention hall except watch time tick by. Have you ever noticed that school clocks are the slowest clocks in the world? It's like the principal has a secret space-time continuum warper hidden in her office that turns school days into dog years. Mr. Grimm, says Mrs. Kenai. She's a nice lady. Good teacher, too. Guess she drew the short straw in the faculty lounge today and got detention duty. Can I see you at my desk? She gestures for me to come to the front of the room. All the hardcore convicts in the room have their beady eyes trained on me as I roll up the aisle. Yes, ma'am, I whisper. What are you doing in detention, Jamie? She whispers back. I shrug my shoulders. I cracked a couple of jokes in math class. Well, how will you get home? The usual way, I guess. Is there a special bus you take? No, I live pretty close by. Still, it must take you a long time to... She catches herself. I can tell she wanted to say walk home, so I help her out. It's not so bad. I do it every day. Well, I don't like the idea of you out there on the street this late. It's getting dark, earlier and earlier. I think you've learned your lesson. I look down at my lap because I can tell that Mrs. Kenai is feeling sorry for me. She can't help herself. Like I said, she's nice. But I hate when that happens. I earned my detention the old-fashioned way. I shouldn't be given a get-out-of-jail-free card just because I'm in this chair. I'm going to let you go early, says Mrs. Kenai. I check out the clock. I have served exactly 12 minutes of my 1-hour sentence. I take a quick glance at my fellow detainees. From the looks on their faces, they hate me as much as I hate being given any kind of special treatment. Can Steve Cosgrove be excused early too, I ask. Cosgrove? Mrs. Kenai checks her warden sheet. Stevie is scheduled for detention from now until sometime after he finishes junior college. He's I fight my gag reflex, adoptive brother. Oh, will he help you get home safely? I go ahead and fib. Actually, this is definitely a lie. Yes, ma'am. Well, I think that will be okay, just this one time, and Stevie gets sprung too. Chapter 31. Saying thanks until it hurts. To say thanks for his early release, Stevie punches me in the shoulder. To add a muchas gracias, he wallops me in the other shoulder. At least I'll have matching bruises. Purple, I hope. It's one of my favorite colors. You're welcome, I say when Stevie is finished expressing his gratitude with his fist. Don't get cocky, cornball. This earns you nothing. Besides, you left my 2 beach buddies behind. I'm sorry, I don't know their actual names. Besides, none of that stuff on the boardwalk with my wheelchair ever happened, remember? Shut up. I'll see you at home, and you'll see me in your nightmares. The guy is totally gloating. I nod and give him a weak little wave. Right, I say, looking forward to it. Can't wait. Counting the seconds. Can you imagine living in the same house with that guy? Even in the adjoining garage? No, you can't. Chapter 32. My Mystery Girl. While I'm sitting there in the hall, an extremely cool-looking girl comes strolling by, and then she stops right in front of me. What's this all about? She's holding a stack of books, and that's about all she's doing, besides grinning and silently checking me out. Very silently. It's so quiet in the hall I can hear crickets, and we're nowhere near the science lab. I'm also extremely nervous. As nervous as a weatherman with a bad comb-over who's doing typhoon coverage. I've accidentally added a fourth P to practice, prepare, and perform. Perspire. Finally, since I've had so much practice at it, I say my name. Hi, I'm Jamie Grimm. I know who you are, says the cool girl. And then it's crickets time again. Only now I can hear a drop of my flop sweat plinking to the floor, too. So that's a lot of books, I say, because I can't think of anything else to say. Can I help you carry them? Sure, why not? She plops her books into my lap, turns, and walks away. One of them is a physics book, and I suddenly realize this is the girl I've been accused of gawking at. Just leave them at locker 219, she says, over her shoulder. Okay, that's pretty cool. Dumping her books in my lap, sashaying away. Not a care in the world. Suddenly, she stops and pivots on her heel, like she's this super cool supermodel. Then she ambles back toward me, slow and easy. In my head, I'm hearing a jazz saxophone solo, and not the kind of guy in the school's marching band honks out. A good one, like Lisa Simpson would play, because this girl, as I've said, is extremely cool. I wouldn't be surprised if she wears sunglasses when she goes to sleep. I know your name, she says, because I voted for you, Jamie Grimm. For student council? I stammer. Yes, were you running for something else? No, not that I know of. Okay. Mystery solved. This cool girl is the third person who voted for me. New mystery. Why did she vote for me? Not that you asked, she says, but my name is Susie Orowski. Cool, I say. I don't mention anything about how it won't fit on my knuckles, and even though I know her real name, I don't think I'll be calling her Susie too often. For me, she'll always be Cool Girl. Chapter 33. Cloudy with a chance of brainstorms. Inspired by the small confidence boost during my post-detention moment with Cool Girl, I have a brainstorm. And not to brag, but it's kind of almost genius. I know how to nail that final perform P, or to try out my act to see if I'm worthy of the planet's funniest kid comic contest. This will be a true torture test. But I have to make the Smileys laugh. Wish me luck. Concrete statues and bird fountains chuckle more often than these people. Chapter 34. Home is where the laughs aren't. I give it my best shot. At the dinner table, I tell food jokes. What do you call cheese that isn't your own? They just stare. So I hit them with the punchline. Nacho cheese. Nothing. Not even a baby nose snort. I try again when they're all watching television. So, did you hear about the guy who spent all day watching football and fell asleep in front of the television? The next morning, his wife wakes him up. Get up, honey, she says. It's 20-7. Really? Says the guy. Who's winning? Again, I get nothing. Not even a whimper from the dog. So I try some bathroom humor. Why did Piglet, Eeyore, and Christopher Robin stick their heads down the toilet? Easy. They were looking for poo. Nada. Zip. Zero. But I don't give up. Later, I try out a middle-of-the-night joke. Hey, Did you hear about the dummy who sat up all night wondering where the sun had gone? The next morning, it dawned on him. They don't laugh. They tell me to go to bed. I try one more time. I give old Smiler a command performance. So, did you hear about the dog who went to the flea circus? He stole the whole show. Say, why do dogs wag their tails? Because no one else will do it for them? I finally get a response. It's a growl. I give up. Forget the planet's funniest kid comic contest. I wasn't even the funniest kid in the backyard. Chapter 35. Finally, a good dream. But that same night, I have a dream. And it's not my usual nightmare about Stevie punching me in the nose until my head explodes, like the balloon over the clown's face in the water gun arcade. This is a good dream. I'm talking with one of my idols, comedy legend, Billy Crystal. I grew up on Long Island too, he says. I know. In high school, I was the class comedian as opposed to the class clown. The difference is, the class clown is the guy who drops his pants at the football game. The class comedian is the guy who talked him into it. I tried being the class clown. I know. I saw the bit with the Statue of Liberty crown. You don't have to try so hard to be funny, because trust me, Jamie, you are funny. I funny? What? Are we doing foreign dialects now? It's something a customer, Mr. Berdzecki, said to me at the diner. He's Russian. He said, "You funny." "Da," says Billy. I agree. You funny. I sleepy. Go knock him dead up in Ronkonkoma, kid. Just let you be you. Let people see how you see the world. I wake up. It's the middle of the night. Eureka! I know what I must do. That dream was a sign. I am definitely going to enter the contest in Ronkonkoma and take my shot at being crowned Long Island's funniest kid comic. Yes, it's the stupidest thing anybody has ever done. Yes, I'll probably be crushed and humiliated and suffer greatly. Yes, I will probably ruin my best shirt with permanent sweat stains. But I'm going to do it anyway, because to mangle a line from one of Billy Crystal's movies, when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life doing something, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. Of course, I won't tell anybody my plans. I'm too embarrassed, too scared. What if they want to come watch me? What if I'm terrible? I won't even tell Uncle Frankie. And I feel super guilty about it. He's always been my biggest fan. Heck, he's the one who told me about the comedy contest in the first place. But I just can't have him there. What if it turns out I'm not funny? I don't want to break his heart. If I lose, I'll stick with just breaking my own. I checked the website one last time. The Long Island contest is Saturday, less than a week away. How can I possibly get myself ready by then? What if I choke? What if I get the yips? When I leave the house the next morning, I am a man on a mission. I am determined that before this week is over, I will be named Long Island's funniest kid comic. Chapter 36. How do you get to Ronkonkoma? Practice, practice, practice. I spend the rest of the week worrying about the upcoming competition. Do I have enough material? Is it funny enough? Am I funny enough? I work up a whole bit about a small town called Grossville and try it out on Gaynor and Pierce. The other day, the kid sitting behind me in class sneezed all over the back of my head. Don't worry, he said. I'm not contagious. It's just allergies. Actually, I was more worried about the boogers in my hair than my health. Then I found out this kid, he lives in Grossville. You guys ever been there? Gaynor and Pierce play along. They shake their heads and yell, "No!" like they're my rowdy audience in a comedy club. Oh, let me tell you, in Grossville, they sneeze on each other all the time. It's why everybody's hair is so green. Yeah, you think it's funny, but it's not. When kids in Grossville say, "Mommy, can I lick the bowl?" their mothers say, "Be quiet, dear, and just flush." My test audience is cracking up, but I don't stop. All over Long Beach, I'm trying out lines on myself, total strangers, even a few seagulls I bribe with breadcrumbs. I really want to do a bit about political correctness. That means using soft and fuzzy words to make sure you never say anything that'll hurt anybody's feelings by telling them the cold, hard truth. For instance, instead of calling the food in the cafeteria crap, you could call it digestively challenging. And I'm not crippled or handicapped. I'm differently abled. I even riff with this guy Squeegee, who hangs out near a dumpster behind the bait shop. My school is so politically correct, nobody's fat anymore. Everyone is just horizontally expanded. "That's really funny," kid, he says. "You're a stitch. Spare $1 for a cup of coffee?" Chapter 37. Sneaking out of town. The big day is finally here. I want to get an early start. Ronkonkoma is 40 miles east of Long Beach, so I've got a bit of a trip ahead of me. And I don't want any of the Smileys, especially Stevie, to know where I'm going. Yes, I'm taking full advantage of my garage door bedroom. I'm sneaking out of the house. Since the Planet's Funniest Kid comic contest is a special event at the comedy club, showtime is slated for pretty early for a nightclub, 2 p.m. I hope I live that long. I'm a nervous wreck. My toes are trembling. My teeth are chattering. My heart is pounding so loudly, it's like somebody's jackhammering inside my rib cage. I wonder if I'll be the first kid to die of a heart attack. What if they have to give me CPR while I'm on stage? If they do, I hope I at least make funny squeak toy noises when they thump on my chest. It's way early, but I see this scraggly guy walking up the street holding a sign announcing the end of the world. Yeah, right. Everybody's a comedian. I check my bags one last time to make sure I have all my props and junk. The cab I called is waiting for me at the corner, but the driver almost pulls away when he sees my wheelchair. "Don't worry," I shout. "You can just toss a lot of this crap in the trunk." "Fine, that takes care of you and the bags, but what am I gonna do with the freaking wheelchair?" Yep, everybody's a comedian. Chapter 38. Yikes, it's showtime! Finally, I'm on stage. The place is packed. I guess the 12 other contestants invited their entire families, from grandparents to third cousins, plus all their friends from school. And all I can think is, where'd that guy say the nearest fire exit is? I want to bolt because I'm freaked out beyond belief. If there's something worse than choking, backward barfing perhaps, I'm doing it. My mind is a total and complete blank. All I can remember are the punchlines from my jokes, none of the setups. Yeah, this is where you came in. I close my eyes, just for a second. I think about Uncle Frankie, my biggest fan, who thankfully isn't here to see me live on stage and dying. I concentrate on the 3 Ps. I think about my Billy Crystal dream. You don't have to try so hard to be funny, because trust me, Jamie, you are funny. And Mr. Berdzecki, you funny boy. Right, I funny. I open my eyes, take a deep breath. Here goes everything. Hi, I squeak out. The other day at school we had this substitute teacher. Very tough. Sort of like Mrs. Darth Vader. Had the heavy breathing, the deep voice. During roll call she said, "Are you chewing gum, young man?" And I said, "No, I'm Jamie Grimm." Yes, I remembered the punchline and the setup, and the audience is actually chuckling. Okay, time to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Not the club's bouncer, my wheelchair. I hit them with my second joke. Wow, what a crowd, I say, surveying the packed audience. Standing room only. Good thing I brought my own chair. It takes a second, but they laugh. Right after I let them know it's okay to laugh because I'm smiling. The laugh builds. I even get a smattering of applause on my second joke. That could be some kind of new indoor record. I just hope the applause lasts for like 10 more minutes. Because, sorry, I'm choking again. I can't remember the setup to joke number 3, or 4, 5, 6, any of them. Now I'm hoping I do have a heart attack, so I'll be dead before I totally bomb. The 3 judges are sitting at the tables closest to the stage. One of them, a very sweet woman with funky red glasses, leans forward a little and whispers, "Don't worry, Jamie. You're already a winner in my book. It took a lot of courage for you to get up on that stage." Okay, I'm sure Ms. Red Glasses Nice Lady means well. But she's judging me by my wheelchair, not by who I am or what I might have to say. She's treating me special. And as you know, I hate when that happens. Well, this comedy competition is in danger of turning into a pity party. And so I let him have it, with both barrels. Chapter 39. Taking no